All right, Shalom. This is the brother Nahal from the GMS Orlando camp. I want to start off by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rukakodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, who are the elders of Yashar Allah, and a sincere salutation to all you Akim, who are preaching this word and believing this word, and to the Akwath who are believing this word, in all truth and in sincerity. Yahweh is the name of the one they ignorantly call God. Yahweh Shai is the name of the one they ignorantly call Jesus. Bahashem is in the name. Rakah is spirit. Kodash is holy. Akyam is brothers. Akwath is sisters. Shalom means peace. And Yashar Allah is Israel in the ancient Paleo-Hebrew. This lesson is entitled Exitus, acta, probat. All right, and it means the outcome justifies the deeds. All right. And what the outcome justifies the deeds means, when you see the result, you'll understand the process. All right, and I want to go through this. So let's start here with Ecclesiastes 17 and 17. And it reads, For in the division of the nations of the whole earth, he set a ruler over every people. But Israel is the Lord's portion, whom, being his firstborn, he nourisheth with discipline, and giving him the light of his love, doth not forsake him. So when you look at the journey of the nation of Israel as a whole, the Lord has nourished us with discipline, lifetime after lifetime, captivity after captivity. Now, in the end result, Israel as a whole, as a nation of people under Yahweh Shai, are going to be in rulership. So in essence, the end justifies the means, because in order for us to appreciate a kingdom, we have to be servants and go through the series of captivities we've went through as a nation. All right, so let's go here real quick. This is Deuteronomy chapter 8 and verse 5. And it reads, Thou shalt also consider in thine heart that as a man chasteneth his son, so the Lord, Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, thy God, chasteneth thee. So we've gone through lifetime after lifetime of discipline. And in the end, it's going to yield that peaceable fruit of righteousness for the whole house of Israel, but it begins with the elect. And when you look at the journey, that's why there's a lively hope, because there's an understanding that at the end of the entire situation, the nation of Israel is going to have rulership under Yahweh Shai. So in essence, the ends justify the means. Meaning when you see the result, you'll understand the deed. And what is the deed at this point? It's being nourished with discipline. It's being chastened as a nation of people. Now, what I want to do is highlight this as a nation of people. And then I want to highlight this as personal examples in the scriptures of the Lord doing certain things that justify the result. Okay, so let's go here. Let's go to 2 Maccabees, the 6th chapter. And I'm going to jump down to the 12th verse. And it reads, Now I beseech those that read this book, that they be not discouraged for these calamities, but that they judge those punishments not to be for destruction, but for a chastening of our nation. For it is a token of his great goodness, when wicked doers are not suffered any long time, but forthwith punished. For not as with other nations, whom the Lord patiently forbeareth to punish, till they be come to the fullness of their sins, so dealeth he with us, lest that, being come to the height of sin, afterwards he should take vengeance of us. And therefore he never withdraweth his mercy from us, and though he punish with adversity, yet doth he never forsake his people. Because some of our people will see what has happened to us, present and past, and not understand that it was a chastening of our nation, because they don't understand the end. They think that this is the end, that we went through all those things just to end up here and stay here. But when you understand that the Lord has something greater planned, you understand why it was necessary for us to go through the things we went through. In other words, the end justifies the means. And that's why ultimately the Lord said to endure chastening. All right. And if you do, the Lord dealeth with you as with sons. All right. Now, I do want to get some personal examples, namely Peter and Paul. All right. But let me grab this real quick. This is Hebrews chapter 12 and verse 7. And it reads, if ye endure chastening, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai dealeth with you as with sons. For what son is he whom the Lord Father, for what son is he whom, Salakia, for what son is he whom the Father chasteneth not? But if ye be without chastisement, whereof all are partakers, then are ye bastards and not sons. All right, now I'm going to jump down to verse 9. It says, furthermore, we have had fathers of our flesh, which corrected us, and we gave them reverence. Shall we not much rather be in subjection unto the Father of spirits and live? For they verily for a few days chastened us after their own pleasure, but he for our profit, that we might be partakers of his holiness. So ultimately, all of this was for the profiting of the Israelites, beginning with the elect. In other words, the ends justify the means. Because it's not only for the Lord's pleasure, because it is his pleasure to give us the kingdom, but it's for our pleasures that we may be partakers of that. Now, I want to show something through the Spirit. Let's start with Peter, okay? So let's go to Matthew 26. All right, let's deal with a personal example of this, of the ends justifying the means. Matthew 26 and, let's see. Yeah, Matthew 26 and 35. And it reads, Peter said unto him, now keep in mind, this is Peter talking to the Lord, Yahweh Shai. All right. Now listen to what he's saying. Matthew chapter 26 and verse 35. Peter said unto him, though I should die with thee, yet will I not deny thee. Likewise also said all the disciples. Verse 36 reads, then cometh Yahweh Shai with them unto a place called Gethsemane, and saith unto the disciples, sit ye here while I go and pray yonder. All right. And he took with him Peter and the two sons of Zebedee, and began to be sorrowful and very heavy. Now, again, keep in mind what he said in in the 35th verse. Okay. Now I want to jump down, because this is Yahweh Shai at one of his darkest hours, so to speak. You know, and Apostle Gabar goes into this a lot, where Yahweh Shai understood what needed to be done, and the spirit was willing, but the flesh was weak. All right, now I want to jump to a point that was made by Yahweh Shai. All right, now let's go here. Let's start here to verse 65. Then the high priest rent his clothes, saying, he hath blasphemed. What further need have we of witnesses? Behold, now ye have heard his blasphemy. What think ye? They answered and said, he is guilty of death. Then did they spit in his face and buffeted him, and others smote him with the palms of their hands, saying, prophesy unto us, thou Hamashiach, who is he that smote thee? Now this is Yahweh Shai at one of the most humiliating moments in his walk. All right, now look at this, verse 69. Now Peter sat without in the palace, and a damsel came unto him, saying, thou also was with Yahweh Shai of Galilee. But he denied before them all, saying, I know not what thou sayest. And when he was gone out into the porch, another maid saw him and said unto them that were there, this fellow was also with Yahweh Shai of Nazareth. And again he denied with an oath, I do not know the man. And keep in mind, Peter denied with an oath. Okay. And after a while, came unto him they that stood by, and said to Peter, surely thou also art one of them, for thy speech bewareth thee. Then began he to curse and to swear, saying, I know not the man. And immediately the cock crew. Verse 75, and Peter remembered the word of Yahushua, which said unto him, Before the cock crow, thou shalt deny me thrice. And he went out and wept bitterly. Now, I'm bringing this out to highlight the ends justifying the means. And the water for bearing with me, the water how by Shema Shai. All right, because if you look at this, this is a walk or a situation that most men couldn't bear. It's an extremely humiliating moment. Yahushai's moment is extremely humiliating. But then Peter's moment is extremely humiliating concerning the fact that he told Yahushua he would die for him before he denied him. And he denied him. All right, now real quick, this is Mark 14:72. And the second time the cock crowed. And the second time the cock crew, and Peter called to mind the word that Yahushua said unto him, Before the cock crow twice, thou shalt deny me thrice. And when he thought thereon, he wept. And the scriptures say he wept bitterly. Now, I want to do this, right? Because when you see what happened to Yahushua, all right, it's a very humiliating moment, for him to be put to death by his own creation. Yet the ends justify the means because the elect are saved through that. Now, when you look at Peter's walk, Peter went through something that most men, if not all men, all right, could not come back from. And the reason I say all men is because the Lord gave that lot to Peter. And that means that he could bear it. Because most men couldn't bear the fact that they would deny the Lord in the moment, in his most crucial moment, one of his most crucial moments. The shame and the guilt that will follow you, most men couldn't bear it, right? But that was what was needed for this, okay? This is Matthew chapter 16 and verse 18. And it reads, And I say also unto thee, that thou art Peter, and upon this rock I will build my church, and the gates of hell shall not prevail against it. So you see what the Lord proclaimed in Matthew the 16th chapter. The Lord knew that Peter would deny him, but he also knew that that situation would be the fuel in his tank to drive him to be the rock that he would build his church upon. Now it's a beautiful situation when you look at it. And ultimately, like that saying goes, the ends justify the means. Exitus, acta, probat. All right, the ends justify the means. So when you look at it on paper, when you imagine the experience, it seems extreme. But when you think about what it yieldeth, as it reads in Hebrews the 12th chapter, it yieldeth the peaceable fruit of righteousness. All right, now I want to go to the example of Paul. Okay, and we're going to go to Acts the 22nd chapter for that. Because this is another humbling or humiliating moment that the Lord uses in Paul and Peter's situation to make them a better servant. When you look at Israel as a whole, everything the Lord has done to us has made us a better servant. But you can only see that on the elect. But eventually, the entire nation of Israel are going to be a better tool for the Heavenly Father's use through everything we've went through. Okay, so jumping back into the point, let's go to Acts 22. Bear with me. Let's go. Let's Acts 22:3. I am verily a man which am a Jew, born in Tarshish, a city in Cilicia, yet brought up in the city at the feet of Gamaliel, and this is Paul speaking, and taught according to the perfect manner of the law of the fathers, and was zealous toward Yahweh Shema Shai, as ye all are this day. So keep in mind, Paul's mindset was that the followers of Hamashiach were going off, and that he was justified in putting them to death. That was his mentality, and he was ride or die about that. He's basically saying, when he said, I'm zealous toward Yahweh Shema Shai, as ye all are this day. Verse 4, and I persecuted this way unto the death, binding and delivering into prisons both men and women. So basically, Paul is looking at the followers of Hamashiach as opposition, and he's treating them as such. Now, keep this in mind, right? Because these are things that most men can't come back from, man. That's the reality. All right. And that's why when you look at these two men's walk in particular, it's extremely unique, but yet it was necessary. The ends justify the means, because ultimately, look at what their walk brought forth as a tool of Yahweh Shema Shai. All right, so let's go down to the crowning moment. All right, verse 5 reads, as also the high priest doth bear me witness, and all the estate of the elders, from whom also I received letters unto the brethren, and went to Damascus, to bring them which were there bound unto Jerusalem, for to be punished. And it came to pass that, as I made my journey and was come nigh unto Damascus about noon, suddenly there shone from heaven a great light round about me. And I fell unto the ground, and heard a voice saying unto me, Saul, Saul, why persecutest thou me? And I answered, Who art thou, Lord? And he said unto me, I am Yahushua of Nazareth, whom thou persecutest. And they that were with me saw indeed the light, and were afraid, but they heard not the voice of him that spake to me. And I said, What shall I do, Lord? And the Lord said unto me, Arise and go into Damascus, and there it shall be told thee of all things which are appointed for thee to do. All right, now you notice something very important, that when Paul recognized who he was speaking to, he addressed Yahushua as Lord, which goes back to a humbling moment. All right, because when you look at Paul's letters, all right, Paul's letters reflect the fact that he understood at that moment that he was zealous for Yahweh Shema Shai, but without knowledge. All right, let's go here. This is 1 Corinthians chapter 15, and I want to jump down to verse 9. And it reads, For I am the least of the apostles, that am not meet to be called an apostle, because I persecuted the church of Yahweh Shema Shai. Now, when you look at that verse, it's very powerful when you understand the context, because he understood what he had done. He had actually put followers of Yahweh Shai to death. You know, the scriptures say, if you offend the least, these little ones, it's better that a great millstone be wrapped around your neck. So when everything came full circle for Paul, he understood the gravity of his deeds. And it created a level of humility. And you can see the level of humility because the Lord gave him a great measure, yet he understood he was least of the apostles for what he had done. Likewise, Peter, denying the Lord 3 times. You can imagine how much that would haunt him in his own walk. Things that are not written, you can only imagine. So when you look at both of their walks and you see the fruit that it produced, the ends justified the means. And the Lord is going to do the same thing for the entire nation of Israel. And then all of Israel will be saved, and they'll realize that the ends justify the means. You know what? I'll close with this. This is Romans chapter 11 and verse 26. And so all Israel shall be saved, as it is written, there shall come out of Zion the deliverer, and shall turn away ungodliness from Jacob. For this is my covenant unto them, when I shall take away their sins. And all of Israel are going to recognize that the outcome justifies the deeds, or Exitus, acta, probat. All right. And that's the beauty of it, that the Lord does this to us as a nation. But there were certain individuals that the Lord gave particular lots to, where when you look at their journey, the end or the outcome justified the deed. All right, so Lord willing, this was edifying with that. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, who are the elders of Yasher Allah, and a sincere salutation to all you Akim, who are preaching this word and believing this word, and to the Akwath, who are believing this word in all truth and in sincerity. Shalom.